The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Learn. We all know the famous Mashgiach, Rabbi Lapian. At the end of his life, his eyes became dim. His doctors recommended that he undergo surgery, which would hopefully correct his eyesight. However, unfortunately, the surgery was not a success, and it caused him to go blind. And for the rest of his life, he couldn't see. However, he didn't give up on learning. He arranged with his Talmidim that every day another Talmud would come with a Gemara, and they would read the Gemara to him. They would read the Gemara, the Rashi, the Tosfos, the Rishonim, and Achronim. He didn't find a reason, he didn't find an excuse not to continue his regiment of learning Torah. No matter what the conditions are, no matter what the circumstances are, we need to keep bonded with the Torah. At night, he would have his grandson learn with him. His grandson's name was Avram Pinsky. He was 12 years old, a little young boy. He would learn with his Zayda, Rabbi Lapian, Mishnayos Kodshim, together with the Rav. Avram would read the Mishnayos and the Rav. Sometimes, Rabbi Lapian realized that Avram was making mistakes. He wasn't reading the Rav correctly. And Rabbi Lapian would correct him. Avram looks at his Zayda. He says, Zayda, do you know this by heart? Do you know Kodshim by heart? Zvachim and Menachos, the Mishnayos and the Rav? Rabbi Lapian didn't answer. He remained silent. A few months later, it was approaching the bar mitzvah of Avram Pinsky. Rabbi Lapian gave him a shmooze, a pep talk. And he told him, you want to achieve greatness? You want to become someone astounding? It doesn't happen when you're 90. It happens now when you're 12. And how do you become someone outstanding and distinguished and exemplary? You learn Torah. But you don't only learn Torah. You learn Torah no matter what the circumstances are and no matter what the conditions are. When I was a young boy, I made this commitment. I knew that sometimes in my life, I wouldn't have a sefer. What would I do? How would I learn? I committed Zvachim and Menachos to memory with the Rav. Therefore, any time I was in a situation where I didn't have a sefer, I relied on my memory, and I was still able to learn. I never went a moment without learning. Avram, I want you to do the same thing. Now that you're 12, commit yourself to Torah. Commit Torah to memory, so that you'll be able to learn wherever you go. This is the distinguishing characteristic of a great Torah luminary. This is the common denominator of the Gedolim that we all know. Pick any Gadol in your mind. What makes him great? It's his commitment to Torah. Not only at certain times, certain hours. Always learning. Whether it's from memory or from a sefer. How many times do we find ourselves sitting around and have nothing to do? We could take these opportunities and learn. Sitting at a bar mitzvah, waiting, sitting at a chasana, waiting. How many times waiting? On the train, in the airplane, airport. We don't even have to commit Mishnayos to memory. The Sfarim are always available. We're living in America, 2023. Everything is pocket size. It's not a schlep. We have no excuse not to bring along a sefer with us wherever we go, so that we don't find ourselves not learning. This is the success, to become successful in life. It's our inextricable bond to Torah. Let me share with you about a very, very big Torah personality who exemplifies his bond to Torah. His name is Rav Chaim Zaitchik, a Gadol b'Torah. He was also a Nevardika. Let me explain to you what a Nevardika is. In Nevardik, they focused on negating the ego of a person. Also, negating our physical connection to the mundane world. Our whole mission is focused on one thing, and that's our commitment to Torah. That's what a Nevardika is. Now, attending this yeshiva was not for the faint of heart. You had to have extraordinary stamina and commitment to be a Nevardik. One of those exemplary Talmidim was Rav Chaim Zaitchik. One time, Rabbi Lubavitz, who was the legendary mashgiach of the Mir, was having a vad. A vad is where they come together and hear a Mussar Shmuz from Rabbi Yerucham. Rav Chaim Zaitchik was invited to this vad. He's sitting at the table with several other Talmidim of the Mir. Rabbi Yerucham sees Chaim, and he says to him, Chaim, why don't you come learn in the Mir Yeshiva? Chaim was quiet, didn't respond. Rabbi Yerucham says, let me ask you a question. Why do some Talmidim fall? Why are some Talmidim broken? Now you can see from these questions that Rabbi Yerucham felt the Nevardika way was too intense. Chaim now gave a response. And he says as follows. You know why they fall? Because they're so high. And since they're so high, they have where to fall. They're high in learning. The intensity to get to that level of not having an ego, taking away the gashmias, unattaching ourselves from the mundane world, is a very, very high level. Not everybody can reach that zenith. There's incredible demands, and not everybody can meet those demands, and that's why they're broken. These comments characterized Rav Chaim Zaitchik. He was the personality that Nevardik was creating. It was a difficult grind. However, if you committed yourself to the Nevardika Mahalach, you could reach a great summit. And you became a very unique Torah personality. And we know many, many Talmidim who went through Nevardik and became great. Listen to this story, which personifies Rav Chaim Zaitchik and what Nevardik taught him. He was enslaved in the Siberian labor camp. There was no water. And they needed someone to go to the reservoir, which was several kilometers away from the camp, which required taking 2 buckets, walking down the kilometers to the reservoir in the frigid cold, filling up the buckets with ice water, putting them on your shoulders, and walking all the way back several kilometers to the camp. It was a gruesome job. Who would volunteer for such a job? You know who did? Chaim Zaitchik. So you wonder, why would he volunteer for such a difficult task? The answer is, because Chaim knew that there was a Yid who lived near the reservoir. Chaim was hoping that this Yid had a sefer. He wanted to learn. Do you know how long it was that he was in Siberia and didn't open up a sefer? He just wanted an opportunity to open up a sefer for just a few minutes. He was willing to take on this very, very difficult task of schlepping water, cold water in the frigid weather, just to be able to open up a sefer. That's a Nevadika. He went down, he walked the several kilometers with the buckets in the freezing cold. He left the buckets by the reservoir, and now he had another mission. He had no idea who this Yid was. He had to find him. Chaim walked from house to house looking for the mezuzah. Finally, he found it. He knocks on the door, and the wife opens up. She sees this Yid, a bacher, a boy. She says, another Yid. Well, you must be hungry. Come, I'll give you some food, warm food. Chaim says, no, I don't need food. She says, what can I give you? He says, all I want is a sefer. She says, a sefer? I'll speak to my husband. She goes to her husband, who was sitting in the living room, and he says, there's a boy at the door. He wants a sefer. Tell him to come in. Chaim walks in. He meets the owner. The owner says, I heard you want a sefer? I only have one Gemara. That's all I have. Chaim says, I want to see it. Let me see it. It's been so long since I opened up a Gemara. The man brings him. It's one Masechta, bound together, two Masechtas, Nidarim and Nazir. And he opens it up. You never saw a happier face. He says to the owner, can I have this? The owner says, I want it too. I want to learn also. Says, I'll make you a deal. Let's cut it in half. The owner went and he cut the Gemara in half. And he kept one Masechta for him, the Darim, and he gave the Nazir Masechta to Chaim. And then Chaim came back to the camp. The happiest person that you could imagine. This is what the treaty was all about during Shleisha Shemei Hagbala. Ksharim, Anuvim, Tefusim. In order to really accept the Torah, we have to be tied and fastened and committed to the Torah.
You've just experienced another Torah.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org